Basketball Media Day rolling along, and one final team to check in with, the team with the shortest commute for Media Days, Northwestern.
Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to Donald E. Stephens Convention
Just
Center in
trailblazers here.
Rosemont, Illinois.
Big storyline, of course,
Of the
entering
2025
18th
Big Ten
and
Women's
final season
Basketball
with Joe McEwen at the helm, the longest tenured and all-time
Media Day
leading coach
special.
in program history.
And this is the last team we'll check in with. And for head coach for our Northwestern Wildcats Women's Basketball, the head coach and also will be joining with the women's basketball players just in a few moments. And the head coach is Joe McEwen.
And I know we're going to talk about this team this year, but just for you coming into this, knowing that it is your last year after doing it for so long, what are the emotions?
Yeah, it's very it's very up and down every day. But I think the good thing is, as we're starting practice, you're starting to get ready for your season. You put everything on the back burner, and we're just, getting mad at practice, trying to, put our team together. And so, I think your just coaching genes take over.
And I would say, for a coach, the one thing, it's like of all the professions that you do, you develop relationships where you are literally life changers, and you've got players from decades, that are calling you for all kinds of advice throughout your life. If there's something that you take pride in now is like, okay, I got one last go at this season that you've been able to impart upon all of your players. What is that, Coach?
Well, I think the biggest thing, is you have to compete. You got to compete the whole time, and you got to be resilient. We always talk about resiliency because, in the Big Ten, you're going to have great. We went 16-2 and won it, and then you lose a couple games. And your team, looks at you like you're supposed to have answers for us, and you got to be resilient and just bounce back the next day or whatever. So they're the things that we focus on. Last year, we had to rebuild for the first time since I took the job in 2008, and I think we're back now, and I can see it in their eyes. So we talked to this team a lot about being resilient, playing with a chip on their shoulder.
Yeah, tell us about the new faces, new team, new season for you. What has stood out to you during the preseason part of the schedule to make you believe that you guys can, be an improved roster?
Yeah, I like our roster. We got 2 grad transfers. Nobody leaves Northwestern, so we don't have to fill a lot of spots every year. But we brought in 2 grad transfers that I think are going to make a big impact. Tate, who came from Furman, just a tremendous. We have a great player, Veronica Burton, who was just named the most outstanding player, most improved player in the league, and in the W, and she reminds me of Veronica a little bit. And then Deja came from TCU, who had a great team last year and got to the Final Eight. And she brings that, if you're going to play in March, you got to bring it, in September and October too. So I think those guys are going to help us. Grace and Casey that are here today, I think are they're primed to have big years. So, knock on wood, we'll stay healthy.
I want to ask about one of your other newcomers, in Sammy White, who played the last 4 seasons on the Northwestern lacrosse team and knows what winning at a high level looks like, obviously. What does she bring? How did that story come together?
She got more rings than I do. I've been in 20 NCAA tournaments, I think, and championships. So Sammy is, she's amazing, and just really proud of her. She was a really good high school basketball player in Maryland. So I think that's really how this kind of transpired. And then, I'm a big lacrosse fan of our program, great coaches. And they said, Sammy might want to play this year. So she came to practice in the spring, kind of watched workouts. And she's like, Coach, I want to do this. And, got here this summer. And she said, Coach, I got a problem. I'm like, Sammy, what's the problem, man? Come on, we're going to go. She's like, I just made the USA national team, and I got to go to China or somewhere for training camp.
Those are nice problems to have, by the way.
I said, all right, well, let us know when you get back.
Yeah.
We're kind of blending the lacrosse basketball world together. But she's amazing. And again, like we talked about, being in the locker room and you walk in there with 3 national championships. You understand you're in and you've been a Northwestern student athlete. You're able. It resonates, and you have a big voice, even though you've never scored a bucket yet.
Yeah.
So appreciate you asking about her.
Yeah, well, she's going to bring the toughness factor from lacrosse, that's for sure. And you mentioned a player that was so tough this year in the WNBA, and Veronica Burton with the Golden State Valkyries winning the Most Improved Player Award. I know that it's got to mean a lot to you to have one of your former players from Northwestern who was so good defensively
Yeah.
for you, 3-time Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year, and now to go to the W and be one of the best players for her squad. What does that mean to you to watch her develop like that?
You know, she was just back. We had homecoming weekend in Northwestern, so she came in and got a chance to spend some time with her. She's amazing, and she's the most humble, great player that you ever want to be around. And she she survived, you know, the ups and downs of pro basketball because she was drafted in the first round and then, you know, got let go, got picked up, and you know, the Golden State was been a godsend for her. And she loves her teammates. I went out to a game and every game sold out. You know, the atmosphere is amazing.
I will say I live in the Bay Area, and it has been phenomenal to see what the community was starved for a WNBA team, and it's been amazing to watch that take over. You mentioned Grace Sullivan and Casey Harder, who are here with you today. What do they bring to the mix in terms of experience, and where do you want to see them go this year?
Yeah, Grace, I think, is that stretch forward that can run the floor, can play inside out. You know, she had big games for us last year, but it was her first year in the system, you know, and that's a big challenge for every coach now to try, you know, to get. We're lucky we have her 2 years instead of 1, and I think she's killed in practice every day. She's expanded her game. You know, can step outside. You know, I think just going to be a hard matchup for everybody. Casey is that glue player behind the scenes that you don't know. Kind of like we talked about Veronica defensively. We always put Casey on. She hadn't had to guard Caitlin Clark because Caitlin left, but you know, Veronica guarded her for 4 years. But Casey has that. You know, she has that. I want the challenge. I'm going to guard their best player, and so that not everybody walks in the gym thinking that way.
So with the senior class, are you kind of like, we're all going out together, we're all doing one final run, or how you working this, Coach?
Yeah, we, you know, we're still trying to figure that part out, you know, and I think they all, I'm proud of them, and for this reason, when we decided that back in March or April that this was going to be the last year, you know, they all had opportunities to leave, and you know, Grace, Casey, all those guys, Caroline Lau is a really talented. Was really highly recruited, and they all said, "I want to come back to Northwestern and play for you." So that means a lot.
As it should. Well, enjoy every moment and stop along the way. I'm sure that you will. And it's kind of cool. Your final non-conference game is at George Washington, a place that you coached for 19 seasons. So a cool full circle moment there, Coach.
Yeah, we're excited about that. Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Well, we're excited to watch your team this year. Thanks for spending some time with us as you take a look at the notable games for Northwestern. They head to Fort Myers, Florida for Thanksgiving, facing Missouri in that tip-off tournament. The Big Ten opener in early December is against Ohio State. For more on the Wildcats, let's go to Mike and Shimmy, who are with the players, guys.
All right, and that's all upcoming games. And now let's welcome him to our Northwestern Wildcats women's basketball players, Grace Sullivan and Casey Harder. And this
it was over break, and we had all gotten on the Zoom call, and he broke the news to us, and I think it was just this collective, bittersweet moment all around, when he announced that this was it, basically, like this was the last year. You could kind of feel, even though it was on a Zoom, this overall sense of like congratulatory feelings, and it was just great vibes, even though it is sad, it's his final year in college basketball, but
yeah, she nailed it. I mean, it's just super bittersweet overall, but we're super excited for this last year with him. Can't wait for it.
What do you remember about when he recruited you? What is the first thing that comes to mind?
I would say when he recruited me, he immediately made the Philly connection. Him being from Philly, I'm from outside of Philly. Immediately.
Wow, she's from outside of Philly. Oh, wow, near my hometown.
Use Veronica Burton as an example,
of Philadelphia, PA.
A great Wildcat legend to look up to and see all of her success. So those were some of like the first memories I had of him.
Yeah, and even him recruiting me through the portal, he kind of did make that Chicago connection. He was like, do you want to come home? Your family can be at every game. You'll have a big support system. So I just remember him being, super open and super welcoming, even through the portal. Yeah.
Well, being compared to Veronica Burton and the energy and the effort and focus that she is continuing to bring to the court, what does that mean for you? And how do you glean to that understanding of what she plays like?
Yeah, I mean, it's super cool to be able to have somebody like her to look up to. I mean, since freshman year, we've been watching her now in the W, just dominating. And just the energy she plays with on the defensive end, what she brings to the table offensively. I mean, she's a really good role model to look after, and it's just super cool to watch.
When you hear a coach say, you know, this is going to be my last year, does that give you all extra emotional leverage to play even harder? Like, you're going to play hard. You're going to compete with fire and ferocity, but to know that, hey, we're going to do this one for coach, does that charge you up on the possessions that are in front of you?
Yeah, I think you put it perfectly. Like, we are playing for him just as much as ourselves now. Not that we weren't doing that before, but there is that extra little push that we want to give as a team, you know, and as a collective group, support staff as well. You know, we are all in this together, and we are in this to make this the best last year for him.
Mm-hmm.
Grace, when did you find yourself seriously focusing on your mid-range game and developing that?
That's funny. We talk about this a lot. You know, last year, I've always had, like, the shot, right? Like, every good basketball player has to be able to shoot from all different levels. But I think seriously coming here really brought that out of my game. I was encouraged to step off the block and step out of my comfort zone on the low block that I was in my freshman and sophomore year. And I was given the freedom in the offense to kind of, again, step outside of my comfort zone. And that's when I found the mid-range shot, and I would consider that to be my comfort zone now. So it's great.
Well, throughout the Big Ten Conference, obviously one of the best teams in the country that you're going to be competing against. What did you learn last year from competing in the Big Ten, and how are you going to carry what you learned into this season?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Big Ten is the best conference. I mean, 1 through 16, just really great players, really great teams. Definitely something we learned last year is we have to be able to play 40 minutes of a game. We had a few lapses last year, and it just shows when we can't finish games. So this year it's a big goal of ours, just to be able to play 40 minutes.
We're actually up to 18 now, by the way. You said 1 to 16. We're actually up to 18 in this league right
1 through
now.
18.
This is hilarious that my next question is, but I swear I planned this anyways. You almost went to Harvard, right?
Yeah.
Is that right? How close
Yeah.
did you? I mean, you're both obviously very smart to go to Northwestern. You have to have incredible brain power. But how close were you to going to Harvard?
I mean, that was definitely up there on my list because of the academics, but I gotta say this blew it away.
How come?
I mean, it's the combination of playing the Big Ten and the academic excellence, and also just the culture that we had here. I mean, it was like no other. Our team is so close, and when you have Coach McEwen as a coach, it really doesn't get any better.
Well, the spotlight is going to be on you guys this year as we watch you play for Joe's final year. It's going to be a blast to watch. Thank you both for being here.
Yes, thank you.
And that was it.
That is
Now
just
let's
about it.
win all these teams.
For us.
And now when we
However,
return, let's think about our takeaways from the Women's Basketball Media Day special. And the main takeaways and much more to come. That's coming up next once we return after from these commercial breaks messages.